The scene assessment particularly deals with addressing the situation at the scene as you approach the scene. I'd like to stop and pause and ask you to consider that a lot of this assessment is done at the time of dispatch when you receive call information. Everything's being filtered in, and it's at that time when you're receiving this call and what's called pre arrival instructions from dispatch to determine how this scene will be approached and what further assessment is required. Many times we take into account the time of day, the location, the distance, proximity to a hospital, adjacent to additional elements or response elements. All these things are important in identifying how we would manage the scene. We need to take also into account that to understand how to do a proper scene assessment and then to mobilize and deploy additional response elements, to outline and begin our patient management, it would require us to have this experience, a particular set amount of times that we've responded to a particular number of similar calls to build up that experience in dealing with it. And this is what we would consider somewhat of a basis of what's called the situational awareness. Now, each situation will take us into different categories of a scene assessment and what's required to address the scene so that we can optimally provide our patient care, our patient management. And it will require an operational sense or an operational awareness of what each response element is capable of doing. As we piece all of these together, be advised as we ask for additional response elements, they are unfamiliar with what we are requesting and they haven't done their own scene assessment. Together, we develop how our operation will continue to evolve and optimally manage our patient care. I want you to consider that the scene assessment again begins at the time of dispatch. And it's going to be a dynamic process in which every step of the way, as you assess the scene, things constantly change. It's a fluid environment. Now, we may remove a patient from a building, a structure, automobile, or other type of environment and place them into the back of an ambulance, or move them to an area of which we can control, a triage area. We've just moved the patient to another scene and we've broadened the assessment for a scene assessment. Each poses their own individual risks. So as you go on calls, now try to consider and develop your situational awareness. That's the experience that you get addressing and assessing the scene. And to continue to develop the operational awareness of knowing how response elements can be optimally used. That if you need to mobilize them or demobilize them, when is the best opportune time?